Hello and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. Again, we're going to be talking about death. And with my co-host Lucky Stone and our special guest, Lady Stallbreaker, Heather. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for having me. Sorry, I had to turn my speaker off. It was playing, and I didn't want that in the background.
Yep, that's kind of what happens. But tonight we're gonna start right in because you only got a limited amount of time tonight, and we'll go through some other stuff. Me and Lucky will after you're gone. But you have a unique perspective on death, and that is really one of the best reasons why I wanted you on, because it's unique to a lot of other people, and I'm sure there's other people out there that have the same thing happen to them, especially other mothers. Maybe you could fill everybody in a little bit on what that all is.
There have been a lot of others. For anybody that doesn't know, and hello to everybody I haven't seen in a while. Thank you for having me. I lost my daughter. She was my only child on September the 9th, which is 9/9 of 2020. And if you just look at that date right there, that's two double angel numbers, 9/9/2020. If you add that up, it's 22. She was 22 years old. If you look at the 22 archetypes, and I could keep going. I could go on and on and on just from the date that she passed away and her age. But it's like she has left me with so many messages, never ending, that she's constantly letting me know she's here. And that has made my grief much less than people who are holding on to the fact that they're gone. When you know they're here, it changes everything. It's changed my whole healing process. And the reason I sent you to June is because she actually has helped me so much to tuning in to reading the messages better and being able to hear better, because I was in shock. I was in shock at first. And I was literally in fight or flight mode, and I kept going. And I was very alone. I lost my only child. I was very alone, and I was scared, but she was letting me know she was here. And then I kept going live because I honestly needed connection with more people who understood what I was going through. Then, like, my parents kind of thought I lost my mind. Here I am now talking to ghosts. Lights are flickering in our house. All these supernatural things keep happening. Just on the equinox, a bat was in my window. I went live. There was a bat in my window. I hadn't gone live in quite a while, but I wanted to show everybody that I had a bat come to welcome in the dark night on the day of our autumn equinox. When we fell into darkness, for the whole weekend, there was a bat in my window. And so these are more just spiritual signs that go along with everything. If you look into every single animal that you encounter, every single thing, it's your guides, whoever they are, bringing you, whoever your guides are. And so if you tune into that, it's going to make the grief process a lot less. Do I miss my daughter? Yes. But is she dead? No. I tell people that all the time. She's very well here. And people really think that it's over. And the thing is, there's no reason for any of us to be scared. I was kind of touching with you on this, that maybe like a lot of us have already attempted to leave this world. Me, myself, I've attempted suicide multiple times trying to say, get me out of here. I've never even thought about it more so than since my daughter's gone, because some days I ask what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. But she's guiding me. And here I am. I'm supposed to share my story.
And though you tried and you weren't successful, obviously successful, but I'm saying is that now, is she giving you encouragement from the other side, saying there's a bigger purpose, things you need to do, that's why you're here,
Yes.
you have a whole life ahead of you, live it or something? What is she telling you to do?
I've heard her even. I've literally heard her not even just through this. I have a friend who does EVPs who also lost her son. Her also at the age of 22. These are confirmations. My daughter lets me know I'm in the right spot. My mom's like,
Mhm.
or my daughter says, okay, her son was 22 and he died of an overdose. Trust her, mom. These are signs that I'm in the right spot and I need to get a message from Sherry. Pulled through messages that said,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, mom. I didn't mean to hurt you on a recorder. Now, I haven't started that yet, but she literally left me a recorder, my daughter. And I could hear her when I'm on the floor crying, saying, get up, mom. You have to keep going. I've heard her say, get up, mama. You have to keep going. Like when I don't want to. And do I
Mhm.
tell my therapist and everybody that? No, because that's not normal. It's kind of one of the things that June was talking about. It's a taboo thing that you don't want to.
Yeah.
So
You can tell all of us, we'll believe you, but the
thank
therapist,
you.
they'll say you're a little bit of woohoo, and they'll give you a bunch of pills that get rid of all that.
Yeah, they will. Well, I take the other stuff to awaken it all, so they're not going to shut me off anymore. Like
Yeah.
I honestly, after talking with June, I
Yeah.
bought her book, How to Talk with Spirits, after I met her on Life with Ghosts. And she
Hmm.
messaged me on Instagram to have me on her private Zoom meetings because she
Oh,
does private teachings and she
yeah.
sells them for $10, her old teachings. She will
Hmm.
let people, because she teaches people how to do this. And so she was invited me as an interview. The
Hmm.
same day her book arrived in the mail, she messaged me on Instagram, and I was like, "Well, if Spirit didn't send you, that's funny. I just got your book in the mail, How to Talk with Spirits." But
Hmm.
she's teaching me so much about how to get really quiet and listen. I don't even think we need half the tools that people think we do. I've been telling people for years you don't need the crystals, but people don't want to hear it because they got too many of them or whatever you need. Your hands, you are energy yourself
Hmm. That's
alone.
right. You go like that. You.
You clap your hands, clap, clap. I've put that on Instagram before, but you have the healing right in your hands. Have you ever touched
Mhm.
something and it just shocked you? Like
Yeah.
the more quiet I get and tune everyone out, listen right inside your own head. And if you get an idea of something or someone, maybe you need to check on that person. Maybe you need to tune in. Um,
Mhm.
those are so many of the ways that I'm learning from June. That's why you guys don't see me a whole lot anymore because I'm
Mhm.
actually busy and I'm also like uh, tuning in. I'm tuning
Well,
into my world.
Well, and that's the thing is the focus. Like you were saying with the crystals and all these other jabs, they're great because they help you focus your energy. They help you focus the healing, and they help you concentrate to and it's like a tool. And
Yes.
just like some people don't need a tool to do things, they just can do it. Other people, well, they need a little bit of help, and there's nothing wrong with using a tool. It's just that you have to put a lot of extra work into not using the tool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have, like you said, you have to focus, you have to meditate, you have to do you have to cleanse your body and things like that. What you're doing, you eliminated the sugar from your diet. You're exercising, you're losing weight, you're focusing your body and your mind on all of these things versus uh, all the world around us that is distracting us.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and it's very very distracting because there's breaking news going on every day. And June fasts from, like, she'll take a whole week away from social media, and that's kind of like what I try to do. I'll leave a note on Facebook, on my Facebook Lady Spellbreaker page, and just say I'll be back after the full moon. Like as soon as the full moon hits, I've kind of been waiting for New Year's to get here because then I'm just going to disappear for a while. I'm
Mhm.
actually like right after. I'm just. It's Ophiuchus season right now, so the sun's
Mhm.
getting ready. We're having our full moon in Taurus, and then we've got Yule, and then I'm just going to disappear for a little while because I really want to meditate more. I do my emotional freedom technique tapping, which is a huge part of my healing for trauma. I do that every single morning. I do my breath work every single morning. Some days I do it while I'm walking around, getting ready for things if I've got stuff to do. But like I told you guys, I tore a muscle earlier this year. I got a trampoline. I tore a muscle hula hooping. And I've been working out. I've almost got a 6-pack. I quit eating sugar. I've been fasting anywhere from 18 to 24 hours a day and cutting. And when you break these addictions like sugar, it's best if you step away from people for a while. I went to Thanksgiving and mingled with everyone. I didn't eat with them. I had my smoothie beforehand. I didn't eat any of the pumpkin pie. I didn't eat any of that stuff. And my mom says I might be being too picky, but I told her I'm not doing it for her. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
making
what
all
you're.
these changes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe's really proud of you. She's happy to see you with lots of spirit and energy and going on. It's awesome. I'm glad. I am so glad for you too. Let's get back on the subject for a sec. Oh, what you got there?
This is one thing my daughter drew, and it really talks about. It says "tres oculus serpentium." I don't know if that's Latin. Maybe is it? And it's talking about the dark and the light. But if you see this snake here, since we are in Ophiuchus season, that's the Ouroboros. And that's the snake eating its tail. And this is so important. I just posted this over on my community tab again not long ago because I wanted people to see this snake here. But, it's kind of like the snake shedding its skin. And think about since we're talking about death and rebirth and endings and beginnings, it's like my daughter passing on 9/9. The number 9 represents completion, represents the endings. But every ending will also have a new beginning because then you start 9, 10, and it's back to 1 again.
And here's the thing. So when her life ended here on this is kind of a hard question. When her life ended here, did she have now that she's in the spiritual world, did she have like a life contract to end at that point in time? Or
did she have a contract?
Yeah, I mean, you know how they say that people, when their time is up, their time is up. They were here to do certain things, and regardless of how young or old they are, when their time is done, that was it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was there anything like that? Did she talk about that to you?
No, but I think her soul was preparing to go. The same way that you were taught. I was listening to you in June because I didn't even know she had. I've been so off the grid that I didn't even know June was on your show. And so I watched that just today and listened to you guys. And the same way you were saying your grandfather was visiting your grandma and she knew, my daughter was getting visits from spirits.
Really?
She was actually very uncomfortable. I don't think in her body, in her human, that she knew she was going to go. I was getting warning signs left and right, and I should have been paying attention because now that I even know the Ethiopian and the Hebrew calendar, the end of the year is 9/9/9/10, and the beginning of their year is 9/11. In the Ethiopian calendar, my daughter was cremated on 9/11. Her body was. So she passed on 9/9, and then 9/10, and then 9/11 was a new year in the Hebrew calendar. And she's been guiding me even to, or the Ethiopian calendar, if you go back to the 13 sign calendars, the 13-month calendars, I should say.
Do you remember Brian, the original Milky Way guy?
I don't. Brian, I think, had passed before I was here, actually.
Okay.
Because it was Michelle Cannon-Free that told me about Brian, and then you guys.
Yeah, and and that's the thing too, is you know, I got on and he started having me on the show, and we talked a lot and stuff like that, and I started to get to know him pretty good. And after he had passed, um, we went back and started trying to review some of the shows and things we'd said and talked about after the show, and so forth and so on, which turned out to be, I realized that he was prepping me. He was prepping me that whole time to take over the show. I mean, it was after he had passed. Trina called me up in the middle of the night and said, "Well, listen, do you see it? Go watch the stuff. Remember what he said? Look what he was doing. He was literally giving you the show without saying, I'm going to pass. Here's the show. I hope you take over. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah,
was really strange, but
he was subconsciously doing it. Like he
yeah.
probably didn't even know from his conscious human from his human perspective.
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
that, like
So
I didn't know until afterwards. I started working with angel cards on YouTube. I started working after the ayahuasca retreat, actually right before I had got some chakra cards. And that was my first real deck of cards. I was learning cartomancy, but I hadn't actually done it yet. And then it was like the ayahuasca retreat. That was preparing me for my daughter leaving this world. They told me to connect to the spirit world, which broke a lot of the church indoctrination on me, because as I learned in Life with Ghosts later, they don't want us talking to the dead. We're only allowed to talk to God and Jesus, or pray to the saints for intercessory or whatever. So I really was indoctrinated by the church. And after my daughter left this world, all these doors opened up. Like I had been teaching her more stuff, but the church was trying to suppress me, I guess. So I had to break free from all that in order
yeah.
to.
Because in the church world, I know, Lucky, you have been indoctrinated into that just like me, and you probably too, Heather. But the thing is that yeah, you're right. They indoctrinate you. Just pray, and if you're a good person and not a sinner, you're gonna go to heaven. He'll just, you'll see the Jesus and the white light and blah 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 blah. You know, and you're thinking, okay, blah blah blah. I'll do what I gotta do, and you're caught in that loop, like that's all there's to it. Now I've been reading books like Tibetan Book of the Dead, things like that, and the thing it's telling me in there is, hey, you need to prepare a little bit. You need to think about this before it happens, because most people say, just wing it. When I get there, I get there. I ain't gonna worry about dying. I'll die when I die. Well, don't you want to like prepare yourself a little more? Heather, here's the thing. Are you more prepared today if you would pass than you were 10 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. My soul has evolved so much. Honestly, my daughter and I work together to continue healing not only myself, but her. I firmly believe a lot of June's teachings that our soul isn't just free. Like the souls that stay attached, the souls that stay stuck here, the ones that people are praying out of purgatory or whatever, it's like they do need to move on. They do need that love. People, their souls can even hold on to the guilt and things like that. I did see someone said that in the chat room, that it was not so much the person sticking, but the emotions of guilt and things that keep us hanging on. If people don't have a good ending, so to speak, with someone, say someone leaves this world and you're on bad terms, it could eat the person who's alive and the person. Like I have been a channel for my grandfather who committed suicide in 96. I told my dad out of nowhere and said, Papa said he's so sorry. And my dad said, for what? like, where in the heck did that come from? And I didn't know it. I didn't consciously know that was going to come out of my mouth, but it's
Hmm.
like, I felt like that needed to be said. Like, he's so sorry for killing himself and doing that to everybody. And like those words, there is healing in the afterlife. Those are the
Hmm.
messages I'm so much learning. June couldn't believe that I just put it all together and figured it out. That I
Hmm.
was doing what's in the book. Oh, it's called Induced After Death Communication Therapy.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
brings so much healing to people who have left the world on bad terms suddenly, not somebody who learns they have cancer and they live for several more years. You see, that's a prepared, those are anticipated grief. When it's a shocking grief or something like that, it's like I could still communicate with my daughter and say, Kayla, I am so sorry for that time. And it releases those feelings of guilt and
Hmm.
things inside of me. And it's also going to set the spirit free. There's
Yeah.
no, we can still heal on the other side with our ancestors. If you're breaking any ancestral karma or generational stuff, you're the one for your lineage. You're listening to your ancestors right now if you're doing it.
Wow. Yeah. So here's one of the questions. We're going to run out of time pretty soon, but I
Sorry.
want to know. Uh, that's all right. No, no. Um, you're more prepared. Are Here's a big thing. A lot of people, I think that's what keeps us alive, is they're scared to die. They fear death. Do you fear death?
No,
No.
I've tried to kill myself a lot of times already. You wouldn't even want to know how many times. I
I don't
did
want to
some
know. But
horrible
the
things.
point is, you're still here, so I'm happy. And that's the thing. Living is for the living, and death is for the other side. And a lot of people are afraid to die. They're afraid to do things that might get them hurt or killed or whatever. A lot of people ain't good with it. They're not. They're not. That's why I'm saying is people don't want to look outside the box to realize what dying is, and therefore they're terrified of it. What if I, especially being indoctrinated into the church, what if I die and God points and throws me into hell? Oh my gosh, I don't want to die because I don't want to be judged. I'm glad to be here. What I'm saying? They
Yeah.
don't want they're oh, I believe in God and I do this and that, whatever. But then when it comes time to die, they're not so sure of themselves anymore.
Yeah. There's that's just the fear attachment.
Yes, and that's propagated by the world we live in. The
Yes,
the
it
thing is
is.
we and that's why I'm doing this show about death, is because I'm finding out from talking to all of these people and everybody is, being on the other side, it's not so bad. Nobody's actually said, hey, I got to the other side, it was horrible, it was the worst place ever. Oh my God,
No.
I don't like being here, I want to get back to living. I
No.
haven't heard that
And
once yet.
I was having severe headaches once, and I after my daughter passed away, and there is such thing called post traumatic headaches, and I was having severe migraines, and I asked my daughter, my God, my spirit guides, whoever, please help me remove whatever it is that is causing these headaches right now. And I had a vision as clear as day with my eyes closed of my daughter's body on the floor, which she did pass away right here behind me. And
Mhm.
her spirit was leaving her body. I literally watched it and my headache went away right
Mhm.
instantly. And
Mhm.
so it's like my daughter was also transgender. She went through a long period of only liking women. And so what the church even did to me was teach me that my daughter was going to burn in the lake of fire for being a homosexual and things like that. So I started turning my back on the church even quite a few years ago. But it really, just watching that vision in my eyes was showing me that all souls leave our body. Not one soul is going to get to go to this place called heaven. Heaven is right upstairs. These spirits are not far, far away or in a courtroom off in heaven with this God that we've heard about. They are right here. Spirits can work through children. I'm really learning about possessions and things in June's book and how to
Mm-hmm.
protect. I got a psychic self-defense in the zodiac, how to protect myself from energy vampires. Because when you're working with spirits, you also want to, they can enter people. Spirits enter can also work through children. Children are more susceptible. I've heard my nephew say things that my daughter says that
Mm.
catches my attention and lets me know that things really are like. And he reminds me so much. He was born 4 months after my daughter, actually. My nephew was.
Mm.
So
Oh, wow.
we could talk about all those kinds of things too, but maybe
Mhm.
another day.
Yeah. On the rebirth side. See, the thing is I think with children, they're still closer to the other side because they just got here. And then old people seem to be closer to the other side because they're just starting to leave here.
Yes, and the children have not formed their big ego yet. And so much children are more open than adults. Adults might like to say they're open, but they're really not. Most of them are too busy. They're running around. This is why I put the brakes on everything and stepped away. Like I barely hardly ever go live at all. I hardly do any videos or anything just because I want to go more inward. And that's how I can hear. Like I was getting
Mhm.
sick and I learned June's friend did a reading with me and said my daughter was making me sick when I was getting around certain people because I wasn't listening. And she didn't want me to make the same mistake again because I don't get sick. So when I got real sick, I understand that something was going on and I needed to pay closer attention. And that's really what it was. I have to pay closer. I wasn't. If I would have been paying closer attention, my disability check for the year my daughter passed away, 2020, was
Mhm.
911 for the whole entire year. So
Really?
spirit was trying to tell me there's an emergency. And in my soul, I knew. I told them when they released my daughter from the mental hospital the night before she passed away, I
Mhm.
told them if you let her out of here, she's going to die. And she died the next day. I knew she was so on drugs and I could not keep her safe. She was seeing spirits. She was seeing people hanging from the trees outside. Mom, I can't, please stop it. She knew. She didn't know in her human mind that she was going, but the souls, I think, were getting ready to welcome her home. And she didn't
Yep.
understand. She was actually very scared in her human body.
Yep.
She was actually like a very scared child.
Wow. Wow. That's very
I
interesting.
just got chills all over when I said that. She
Yeah, that
was.
that is. I mean, that is very interesting. I know it's 9:31. If you got to go,
Yeah, I
um,
do. I
okay.
do have to go to work.
I know, I know. So I just want to remind you because I know you're gonna keep talking for, and then
I
you'd be
know
late.
we'll
As
have
you
to
say,
do this again, you guys.
yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much for having
Okay.
me.
Well,
It's
thank
nice seeing
you,
you all.
thank you for coming.
Everyone, take care of yourself.
Okay,
I'll see you later.
later.
If I can know how to get out of here.
Just hit the button. Okay. Well, Lucky, what do you think of all of that?
It's very interesting. So if anyone is contacting me through chat, I can't see any chat. Just want you to know I'm
Oh,
not ignoring anybody. It's just I'm using my cell phone because my computer has passed away and now it's at the service place. Hopefully to revive it. But I'm not used to being on my cell phone for doing these kind of things. So so if you're chatting to me, I can see on my tablet whenever Robert posts anything on there. But besides that, I'm not ignoring anyone. Just I feel bad because I saw my name pop up and go away. I'm like, oh no. But
well,
yeah,
if it's anything important, I'll let you know. Most
great.
most
Yeah,
of the stuff I post up there is people saying hi to us.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
unless it's something important. Anyway, uh, let's see. So, it was very interesting to hear, and I keep hearing this over and over and over again about how people, that are passing, they don't know they're passing, but the other side knows that they're passing. Like she was talking about, with her daughter, no, seeing these things and just getting the other side was preparing her, welcoming her, even though she didn't know she was going.
It is interesting that these things do happen. That people get warnings, and I mean, man, it's also that they come and they want to watch over you and they want to give you some insight. I'm like, hey, you're on a path that's going to bring you onto our side, and we want to help you. But I think there might be a double-edged sword where one side that they're getting them ready to pass over, on the other side, they want to help prevent them from passing over. They want to put things in their way, saying, hey, you got to be aware of this so you don't join us. I mean, I think there's more to it than just welcoming everyone. I think it's also they're trying to prevent people from coming over too soon.
Yeah. Because I agree with that, because they're giving you that window of choice that you could
choice. Yes.
Hey, you don't have to come right now, but we'll be here if you do, and you should stay there as long as possible. So you see, when that happens, I really think in my head, all of that stuff, what they talk about, like this is a big game or it's a play. And in that case, yeah, we're here to play the game, to experience life as long as humanly possible. If it's 120 years or if it's 10 years, doesn't matter. But it seems like every single second counts. Now, otherwise, when you get to the hospital or something like that, they wouldn't help you, stay alive. They'd be like, oh, he's got a lot wrong with him. Just let him die.
That's the weird part also, is that sometimes that when we are at the end of our line and they still continue, I don't know if I want to live as a vegetable sort of thing, and how is that living? But again, is it my choice, or is it's so much? There's living and dying is such a complicated process.
Yeah, it is a complicated, and that's why you'd think nobody talks about it. They talk more about their taxes than they do about death, and that's one thing we all got to pay. Death and taxes, but yet death is never spoken about as much. And so of course I got some things that I want to go through tonight, and as soon as I pop this up, and some things people don't talk about. What happens when you die, right? Okay, so hang on, let me present this. And this is going to get gross, everybody. So if you don't want to watch this stuff or listen to this stuff, because sometimes things like this can, just get a little weird. What happens to the body? After death, the body goes through a series of changes, including relaxation. The body's muscles immediately relax, releasing strain on the bladder and the bowels. Most people urinate and defecate in the moment of death. Wow. Okay. That's kind of creepy and weird. But see, if your spirit leaves your body, that's just saying that your body's going to relax because that was your vessel, right? And of course, once your body quits moving and pumping blood and stuff, the body temperature drops 1.5 degrees to 83 degrees Celsius per hour until it matches the surrounding temperature. Blood pooling. Gravity pulls blood downward, causing it to pool in the lower parts of the body. The skin may appear purplish red in these areas. So that's why. Is that why? Do you think that's why people look like they're gray in the face when they pass?
Well, no, they turn gray because all the blood comes out of them. But and the other thing is that all the blood, they're lower extent, whatever's facing down, turns bright red and purple eventually. Unfortunately, I've had that experience. I've run into people who've recently passed or passed for days, and they turn white. Skin is gray or white, and then their lower extremities are bright red or purple.
Huh. I never had that.
It's a nasty thing.
Yeah, not on my bucket list, that's for sure. Stiffening, the body stiffens, starting in the face, the neck, and spreading to the rest of the body. This stiffening is called rigor mortis. We've all heard of that. Loosening, again, a few days after death, the body's tissues break down, causing the stiff parts to relax again, and this is called secondary relaxation. Now, that part I did not know about.
Yeah.
And then the decomposition. Bacteria and insects break down the body. This process is called purification. The body may bloat, and the foam may leak from the mouth, the nose, and the body may also emit strong odors. And I think that's why we embalm people, or we put them on ice or something like that. And, because I know when an animal dies, like I had my horse die out here, and boy, it was hot and in the summer, and within a day he was bloated and stiff as a board. So yeah, it was, and it smelled bad too. If the body is found, of course, mummification, let's talk about embalming. The body is found in a dry climate with extreme temperatures, it may mummify. I know, it's on its own. And of course, we have a skeletal state. The body is reduced to skin, cartilage, and bone. Eventually, the skeleton and sometimes hair remain. Ooh, boy. How about that one? Yeah, and of course, we have embalming. Let's talk a little bit about this. Now the Egyptians, they had it going on for the dead stuff. They believed in a lot of things. I'm not exactly sure of all the stuff they believed in because, I haven't studied it so much, but I know they believed in an afterlife. They believed, to prepare themselves. They had those tombs where they put all their belongings in that they would need on their journey to the other side. At least that's my thoughts on that. The way they mummified people by, putting herbs and things in the body. Of course, they pulled out all the guts, blood, and things like that, and filled them. Basically, made them into a piece of beef jerky. I guess. What's your thoughts on that?
No, it's the Egyptians. They put each of the organs in their own little jars. So the heart got a jar, the brain got a jar, each of the organs got a jar, and then inside the body they stuffed it with herbs and sand and other things to make basically at the end, you're just skin and bones, and it's all just purified. And mummies don't stink, because they're all full of herbs and everything nice, and and so that's the wonderful thing about Egypt is they didn't know how to treat their mummies pretty well. You find an Egyptian mummy, they're a pleasant thing. And that's the problem that during the 1800s they used to use Egyptian mummies as medicine because they smelled great. Really? That's the funny thing is that the mummies smelled great. Well, the people who didn't bathe and everything, they kind of stinky. So that was the weird thing about when they discovered all these mummies everywhere. They think, oh, these might be health things, which is weird. But people are weird. They find everyone to make a buck. Everyone wants to make a buck in some way or another.
Yeah, speaking of a buck, we're going to go to our next slide, and here we're going to talk a little bit about the embalming process. Yeah, and this is not something that's very old, and we're going to talk about that, which is here, the practice that we talked about, mummification. The Egyptians practiced the mummification 5,000 BC, and it remained a preferred method until Roman times. The Egyptians believed that the body needed to be preserved so that the person's kababa and aka could be reunited in the next life. Of course, today, like you said, it's about money, probably. In the mid-1900s or 19th century, which is the 1800s, embalming became the standard method of preserving bodies for funerals and burials. Embalming is a process that involves inducing special solutions into the body to delay composition. and give the body a more peaceful appearance. Many states required embalming if the body will not be buried or cremated within 48 hours, or if the formal visitation is planned. Of course, we've all been to a wake sometime or another in our lives. And I think this embalming thing started during the, if I'm not mistaken, was sometime during the Civil War. Do you know anything more about that?
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. They needed to show,
Yes.
everyone wanted to see Abraham Lincoln, so they had to embalm him. So they got the best experts in it, and then people heard about it, and they wanted their loved ones to be embalmed like the president, so they could show off, so they could, because back then, again, we didn't have cars. They had, people would take, days to get to someone's house for visitation. So it's a tough process. The body sitting around for a couple of days gets kind of nasty. So everyone wanted to be like the president, and get the embalming, and they're like, hey, and they started making that. And that's how it became popular, because they wanted to be like the president. Because, yeah, Abraham Lincoln had a great worldwide, country tour, and Washington D.C. Days to people walk through to see the president. So,
yeah. So, and when you're embalmed, that's when people come to visitation, and hey, he looks pretty good. I've heard people say he looks still pretty good, or oh, they did a bad job on him. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing about funerals is it's a multi-level process where you've got they got to get them dressed up, they got to get embalmed, and also they have a makeup artist to get them in the right direction.
Yeah, this is embalming, I think, from back in the day. Bags full of glass marbles holding the body under the surface, and the bags with glass marbles in the abdomen cavity, and then embalming solution in a glass tub and a gauze mattress. Oh boy, just what you want. Being dunked in formaldehyde for about a couple hours to preserve your body. Oh, kind of gross there, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I know that's the thing. We don't like to think about death, and that's probably a big reason why. It's kind of gross. And of course, back in the 1800s, here's a nun. I forget what her name was. She's some saint, but she died, and they put her in this glass case, and she mummified herself inside the glass case. Is that anything you would be up on to do?
No, I'd rather just recycle. I don't. That's another thing. Is I was drive by these graveyards, and they're taking up so much land. But what are we going to do with these? We just add more and more, cemeteries and graveyards, and we're going to run out of space for people to live. So,
well, look what they do in Japan. There's millions of billions of people in these countries in China, and they just literally have concrete jungles where they, you have an urn, and then you put your bones in, and they stack them up. The hole goes down a long ways, and you just stack them up. You got a 6x6 square to put all your relatives, and then some. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It all seems, I don't even want to think about it yet. I feel too young to think about it, but I know it's something that we should all think about.
True.
Regardless, because otherwise it's going to sneak up on you, and then one of these days you're going to be old. Well, I think we talked about what happens to you after you die, and you turn into a skeleton. Okay, let's see if I can get this one up. But yeah, it is just a lot of what happens to you when you die. Of course. Let's see. There was one here I wanted to talk about. It was called the bucket list. The bucket list one. Here's an appetite. Oh, this is what happens before you die. What happens to your body before death? And this is, it's kind of morbid to be talking about all this, but it's something people don't talk about. So you may only hear about it here. More sleep and less physical activity when you're dying. You sleep more, recharge your mind and body instead of you sleep because your body doesn't have the energy for activity, of course. Decreased appetite and thirst. I guess when you die, you're dying. You don't need amount of nourishment for your body. Your appetite may decrease dramatically in the days, weeks, or months before your death. Your digestive system may have a harder time processing food you eat. So basically, your body already knows that you're dying, and it's like preparing itself, right?
Well, if you're dying, your body's breaking down and not functioning normal. So this makes sense. It's not knowing as much as the system is breaking down. So in order to eat more, the old food has to go away. Well, if the old food is not moving as fast, well, you're not going to eat as much. So I don't think as much as the body knowing is the body is just shutting down like an old car. When the old car is not working as well, it's not going to use as much gas.
Oh, I agree. And of course, the inability to control the bowel system.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's why they have old people diapers.
Oh, yeah.
People are dying. They lose control over their pelvic floor muscles that allow you control when you pee. Stools soften. Well, of course, if your body ain't digesting your foods.
Right.
Breakdown of your muscles and skin is common to lose weight, muscles mass when you're dying. Positioning yourself in bed for even talking may be stressful on the muscles to exhaustion. New skin cells don't replace dying ones as rapidly, causing your skin to thin. I've seen old people with thin skin and people who lost a lot of weight before they died. They just got real skinny, even though they were like huge fat people. Withdrawal and detachment. It's normal when you are dying to express less interest in activities you used to enjoy. You may prefer being alone over visiting with others. Craving less interaction with others doesn't mean your love friends or family members less. Your needs change as your body changes. Wow. Declining or irregular vital signs. Your vitals include temperature, pulse, respiration, breathing, blood pressure. Okay, we all know that stuff. Okay, your body is basically shutting down. And agitation. This is a good one. I've seen this. Heck, we've seen this with the President of the United States, Mr. Biden. Sudden bursts of energy or feeling restlessness following long periods of sleep signals that death is close. You may feel capable of doing these things you're not realistically able to do. You may try to leave the bed to remove medical devices you need, like an IV. You may become frustrated with caregivers who are trying to help you. Yeah. Remember when he was having all those outbursts of on screen there, man? I thought he was going to kick the bucket, but they must have fed him some good drugs. That's all I can say. And let's see, we did agitation, changes in how you perceive your surroundings. I remember this with my grandma. If she left her house, she was lost. She didn't know where the heck she was. Differently from how it once did. For instance, a sound that once seemed normal may seem scary or threatening. Yeah, she used to jump, any little thing at the end. You may mistake one person for another. Sometimes she didn't know who was who. You may perceive things that people are around you don't seem to notice. These differences in perception may be noticeable at night than during the day. Let's see. Periods of unconsciousness. That one I haven't heard. As death approaches, you may drift from sleep to unconsciousness, much like being in a coma or dream state. You may wake up later, unaware of your unconsciousness. Towards the end, you will remain of this unconscious state for an extended rest. What do you say to that?
I don't know how you go from sleep to unconsciousness, because I thought sleep was unconscious, so I don't know what that means.
Well, unconscious, I suppose, would be that they can't wake you up, unwakeable, like, hey, get up. And you just don't respond, But anyway, let's see. You're breathing. Yeah. What?
Yeah, that makes sense. They can't wake you up. That's why you're unconscious, because no one can wake you up. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Your breathing patterns can signal how close you are to death. Yeah. Oh, speaking of that my grandma, when just within the last few months before she passed, I remember that she slept so sound and so hard. I remember a few times I had to, go in the house and literally try to wake her up, and she was just out. I mean, and I'm thinking, how can you be out? She was just out.
Hmm.
And I don't know if she was unconscious out, or she was, how sleeping was she? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's tough. It's a tough
Yeah.
call. What is it? Whether they're unconscious or they're just in a deep sleep. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of scared a couple of times. It says your breathing patterns can signal how close you are to death, while regular steady breaths are a sign of life and good health. Unpredictable breathing is often a sign of failing health or death. As death nears, you may go for longer periods without breathing. If there's
Mm.
saliva building up in the back of your throat because the muscles in your throat aren't strong enough to swallow, you may make a rattling sound when you breathe. This sound is often called the death rattle. Oh boy.
Mm.
Wow. That's
Wow.
that's kind of,
Yeesh.
wow.
Oh,
Almost makes you,
that
yeah,
explains something at least. Yeah, the death rattle. I've heard about it, but wow. Oof.
yeah, yeah. Body during death. During death, your body's functions. Oh, we talk. No pulse, no breath. Of course, duh. After death, does dying hurt? Does dying hurt? I don't know. You'd be dead. You wouldn't know. It depends. Pain is a part of life, and it may also be part of death. Similar to how you experience different types of pain, sensations in life, you may experience various pain sensations in death. Much depends on your cause of death and whether you have access to pain medications. For instance, you may die suddenly and experience no pain at all. Okay. And so it talks about the body's fight to survive, painful medications, and so forth and so on. Now, I got a question for you. This is kind of weird kind of question. Now, you had a near-death experience, right?
Yeah.
And in that near-death experience, do you remember if it was painful, or was it not painful, or scary, or what?
I I drowned, so I was in cold water, so the cold did hurt. It hurt. I remember it hurt before and it hurt after. But just the body just did not like being cold, So
Yeah.
yeah, it hurt. But that sort of thing is the body hurts. The spirit never hurt. It with the body. Ooh, that pain. Yeah, that was very painful. Just the reaction of the body react to the cold.
Yeah.
And it's not. And I've been cold recently, through life, but nothing like that. That experience was once in a million. That just the sheer pain of the cold, just being so cold it hurts, and it's the
Wow.
whole body from tip of the head to the toes. It's just the whole body's in the pain. Yeah. So yeah,
Wow.
that hurt. Yes, but
It
then
hurt.
nothing, and then back again. That getting out of the body and back into the body. That didn't hurt, but once in the body hurt from the before and then after. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
But every death experience is unique. So who knows?
Yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah. Okay. So now that you're thinking you're going to die, here's some things you can consider when preparing for death. End of life wishes. Think about your preferences for medical care, burial, funeral arrangements. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have already bought their plot somewhere, or figured out what they want to do, cremated or whatever. I know Nina had talked about that on a previous show. So anyway, big shout out to everybody in the chat. Nubs Revenge, 7P, Sunset Dreamer, Regine Hutchelson, Grumpy Stacks in the house tonight. Let's see, AF's in the house. Haven't seen you in a while. Witchy Moon. Let's see, Nina the Mystic, of course. We got a show, and Mary wins tomorrow. A big show with Aggie Noss is coming. We're going to be talking about time travel. So tune in tomorrow night, Nina's channel. And we were going to do a show on Stupid Talk and Stupid Talk Daily, but I got a strike and ban me for a whole week. So there you go, people. Sorry I didn't do a show on Thursday, but I was banned. Anyway, got a big strike on that, talking about medical information, they said. Anyway, let's see. Let's go back to this. Legal documents. Create a will. I haven't done that. Lucky, you got a will?
Yeah.
In life insurance? It says insurance.
Yeah, I got life insurance. Well, my company offers life insurance, and then there's the other one. Yep. That I have.
Yeah, I got life insurance with the company. No will though. I keep thinking maybe I should have a will.
You have horses. You definitely need a will to figure out what you're going to do with those horses if something ever happens. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing. For my whole life, I've taken care of parrots and other kinds of strange animals that it's hard to place. So if you don't have arrangements after your death, the people who basically come into your house afterwards, they're desperate. They'll just go to anywhere. So you at least have to have an option. Say, hey, please go to this parrot rescue place if you can't find home my parrots. For parrots, and then for horses, my God, I think the ASPCA has a system for horses. But again, my sister's got horses from people who passed away and the feeling of not knowing what to do with them. Yeah,
and that's the thing is, I got like my animals, my dogs and stuff. I think about that now. So, yeah, it's one of the things. Organize your finances. Let's move on. We're at the end of our hour. Organize your finances, including bank accounts, investments, insurance, real estate, creating a financial death binder for your loved ones. Yeah, you got to think about the people that are still living here. Digital life. You never think about this. Document your passwords and consider your social media accounts. You can also share the locations of important paperwork. You thought about that one. I really never gave that much thought, but that's a good one to think about. That's kind of a new one.
I don't even have that. Yeah, that I do need to set up.
Yeah, because, like if something would happen to me, who would come on my show? I mean, nobody would really know. I mean, somebody would have to come on my show and say, okay, he passed, sorry, everybody, no more Milky Way. Hopefully that ain't for a long time. Decide on the type of funeral and how it will be paid for. Of course, you've got life insurance. But who's doing all of that? You're dead. And of course, we talk about pets. Of course, dogs, communicate your funeral wishes. Make a list of who needs to be told and check if there's anything you want to get rid of. That's a big thing too, because you pass away and then they go, what do you want? Just cremate him. Yeah, throw all the stuff in the garbage. We don't care. You know what I mean? We'll take what we want and leave them to the side of the road. So it's stuff like that. We got to think about it. I don't think, I never really thought about it, but I'm really going to get, more in depth on this. And this is just a wake up call for everybody else too, because we're all going to pass. We don't really give it much thought. Some people do and some people don't. But even if you don't have insurance and you don't have all these things, at least get a will made. So at least they know where to bury you, who to give your stuff to. Maybe there's things that are important to you that certain people will want, and other people would just throw it in the garbage can and say, who cares?
True.
And then those people, and then, you talk to spirits. So, do they ever get mad that their stuff was given to the wrong people, or their house was inhabited by, wasn't passed down, or their will wasn't honored?
Only my aunt. My aunt was very upset that her funeral arrangements were not followed exactly how she wanted. She wanted a closed casket. She wanted to just wanted a simple wake and then cremation. Well, they had a big wake and a after party, and it wasn't a party, the call, whatever you want to call it. And then they buried her in the graveyard, and then they sold her house. And she wanted her kids to, at least one of them to take on her house, but none of them wanted in. So my aunt was disappointed or very vocal about it. And it's a weird situation when they're talking about, oh, I miss my mom, blah blah blah, and I'm like, you didn't follow any of her wishes, you know. But whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't even know it. I mean, I told my mother, I was like, yeah, your sister's a little upset, and I explained. And my mother says, yeah, because she knew about everything because my sister, my aunt told my mother everything what she wanted, and was expecting from her kids. And then I told my mother didn't tell me, and then I expressed to her what her sister, I was telling me, and she's like, yeah, I didn't know you'd even know all this. I'm like, yeah, she was telling me all this. And I says, yeah. My mother's never really been happy with my tapping, but she's also more apt, living with it a little bit better now than she was in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, it's like telling the secrets, you got your aunt telling you, and your mother's going, I did something she didn't want, but you weren't supposed to find out. Yeah. And the only one that knew was her and me. And it said it in the paperwork, but I said, screw that, just throw her in the ground kind of thing. And of course, that people will be unhappy. I totally agree with that. I'd be unhappy too if my wishes weren't met a little bit anyway. Okay, so you were talking about burials and all this stuff. Here are some of the types of rituals, because people like to have a ritual. Now, I don't know about the spirits. Do they like to have a ritual when they're, I'm sure they come to the funeral of some sort. Are they enjoying that part or not?
See, that's the weird part about funerals, is that they like the people telling happy stories.
Yeah.
The sadness and the crying and the regret and everything like that, they really don't like it.
Okay.
That's for the positive, the joyful ones who just, they want to, if their family's happy in remembering the good times, it makes it easy for them to leave and go on. But when their family's in pain, it kind of makes them stuck here because they don't want to leave their family in pain. So it's a weird situation that, the funeral's basically for the living. It's not for the dead. But the dead can enjoy it because they can remember, they can, have a time with their family and, say goodbye and know that they're okay. But if they're in pain, they're not okay, so it's hard for them to leave. Funerals are a tough time for the living and the dead.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the funerals. Here we got sky burial, Tibetan Buddhist ritual where the body is left outside for the animals to consume. Buddhists believe this sends the soul of the deceased to heaven. That's kind of like the Native Americans did. They would put them on poles or in trees till, the body was consumed. And then they would pick up the bones. Funeral. Of course, we all know what that is, a public ceremony that helps people express their grief. And you were just talking about the grief part. It literally, the term of it is saying, it's time to go and be grieved, get your grief out, not go and have a party. That's what I want. I want people to get together and talk about good things. Remember the deceased and honor their beliefs. Yeah, whatever. Okay, memorial service, a gathering after cremation where the family and friends can share memories and celebrate the deceased life. And of course, a burial, a way to show respect to the dead, to protect the living from the smell of decay. Okay, that sounds real good. Fantasy coffins. I've never heard of this. A Ganjajina tradition where people are buried in coffins that represent something they loved in life. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I have. I think so, but I'm not sure because I know that Kiss had a coffin that you use it as like a decoration, like an end table or a coffee table, and then after you die, you use it as an actual coffin. But I'm not sure if that's what they mean. I don't know. That's weird.
That's a different one. A Malagese ceremony is I don't even know what this is. Falmelnahaya, a ceremony where families exhume the bodies of their ancestors, reclothe them, and dance with them at a party. not my strong suit there. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna dance with, my exhumed body of my ancestor. That is just not happening.
Mhm.
You know. uh, yeah. Anyway, let's see. Mary Wynn says the person who passed usually showed up at the funeral. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, a lot of stuff there to think about. But thanks everybody for showing up tonight. 7 p. Nina the Mystic. Remember, tomorrow night we are on. Don't forget. Oh, Christmas in the house. Forgot to yell at you too. Thank you for being here. Yeah, New Orleans knows how to show a funeral. Yeah, that's kind of funeral I want. A happy parade with lots of fun. Anyway,
Mhm.
at least right now. Anyway,
True.
but tomorrow night, Aggie Noss is gonna be on Nina's channel. So tune in there. You'll find me and Nina and Aggie Noss. We're gonna talk about time travel. What does he know about time travel? Anyway, also go check out Nina's merch. She's got Milky Way Soul Tribe holiday shirts over there. So check that out. Who doesn't want a holiday shirt? You wear the ugliest sweater with my face on it, right? And with that, we'll have Native American Myths and Legends coming up on Tuesday with David Null, of course. And so that will be good. And let me get back to, God, I got a lot of stuff on this computer. But anyway, yeah, tomorrow night, join us here. I think Max Vision was in the house tonight. He's probably got a show over in his channel. So go check him out. Do a little bit of mind work with your mind, with the remote viewing. It's like talking to spirits, only you're finding out the future or the past or something else. Lucky, what do you got coming up?
I got nothing. I haven't posted in a little while, except for some old videos that I hadn't posted, just threw them up. But I got plans to post again. The cold from last week and my computer dying, it just made everything much more difficult. I do a lot of my recordings on my phone anyways, but it just not having the laptop and not being able to edit, at least just clean things up a little bit, really made me, it put me down. I didn't feel like posting for a little while, but I'll post again a little later.
More esoteric tea next week?
Always esoteric. Every Friday with Courtney, esoteric tea. Next week is with Sophia Ramos something from
Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Rasmussen.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh, nice.
We're going to record something because I don't have my computer, so I can't go on StreamYard. And then so we're going to go a little earlier. We're going to record with Sophia, and then we're going to post it before Andromeda 7, and hopefully we'll be closer to Andromeda 7, and then it'll just go into Andromeda 7 live.
Nice.
Cool. Should work out perfectly.
Nice. Great. Remember, there's your link to get your holiday merch on Nina's website. She's nice enough to put my smiling face on another holiday shirt, so go get yours. There's some mugs too, things like that. Aggie Noss talking with us about time travel tomorrow. Maybe he invented a time machine. Who knows? Or maybe he found one. I don't know. Lady Spitfire's in the house. And of course, the holidays will be coming up pretty soon. So now that we talked about death so much, I think we've figured it out for the most part. So we're gonna have a new subject next week for sure. No more death talk.
Death is solved.
It'll be the end of the season. Yes, we know the riddles of death now. If you got any questions, email me and we'll figure it out from there. Maybe it'll be a good subject, but we'll have to start because of course Christmas starts the rebirth. So now we're going to be moving on to rebirth, the brightening and newing of everything. And I've been reading some cool books, so it should be a blast. So check me out. Join me here next week, same time, same place on the Milky Way channel. And we'll be here again. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We're over 1,000 subscribers now. We're going strong, getting a lot of views. Life is good.
Life is good. Yep.
Yeah. So with that, everybody go out and do something nice. Remember, the Christmas season is coming up. Remember, if you empty some of your glass, it will fill somebody else's, and the universe will fill your glass back up. And that's the truth. So with that, everybody, go out and do something nice for somebody. Be the frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love you all. Peace, everybody.
Great weekend.